how video games made me my first dollar. Now, the thing is that when I was first starting out, I started in sales. As most of you guys know, I made a video even yesterday talking about how sales is killing your potential. But let me just give you like kind of my story that took me, from sales to now upwards of making 50 grand a month. Now, this entire thing happened because of video games, and I'll explain why. The reason was because I was bored. And I was bored to the like I lived in a, basically I lived in the hood. That's what you can call it. Not coming from a lot of money. So I was just like I used to just imagine a bunch of stuff like that happening, this happening. And then I found video games. Video games was like, oh my god, this is the best thing on the planet. So I started playing them, playing them. I played a bunch of games. I played like Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, Fortnite, CS:GO, Apex Legends. You just I just played every single game possible because it was just an escape from reality. That was my escapism. But what did it do was that when I was playing Fortnite, yes, the best game on the planet, according to me, I started seeing that there was these tournaments that would happen like every single Saturday, where they would pay like 200, $300 every single weekend. And I was like, wait a second, you can make money? You can make money off of this? And that just like lit a spark in me. This was around like, like 2020 when everything was going down, the biggest hoax in my opinion. But this entire thing caused me to just think about money now. I was like, wait a second, I don't need to do school. And I hated school. School was just ass. When I was like in nursery school or something. So where I went to school was it was like they used to have like TVs and stuff just like back in like I don't know 2010 or something. So they had like one of these like I would say daycare wasn't really a school, it was a daycare. So I was going to that school and I was just crying. I was like, just get me out of here. The teachers were annoying. Everything was annoying. I was a G back in the day even. So the principal took me. She showed me a bunch of cartoons, and that didn't look really quite get me. I was like, removed it. I don't want to go home. So I did that. And after a while, she got pissed, and she got pissed enough to show me a horror video. Now remember, I was like 4 or 3 years old max, putting headphones on my actual face. So I did that, and I just got scared. And like since that day, I just hated school. My mom told me like I had like a massive fever. I was just in bed for a week. I'd never want to go back again. Of course, it just basically traumatized a 4 or 3 year old. But that actually kind of helped me because I now in fact hated school and never want to go there. So I just had this like massive hate for school, and I was just angry. I was like, you know what, f these people, they're just pieces of shit. I hate school. And I was like after that point I was like never considering school. But the issue was that just like having issues and growing up older, all these types of things, I couldn't like really read or write because I just didn't go to school. I was like, nah. Like when that happened, I took like a year off, like a year or two off of school, which caused me to just have like this massive setback. But the thing that what this did for me was that I was bad at school. I was bad at basically any sport because I was just like I had like migraines and all that little bit of stuff. So like health issues also occurred due to that lady just doing all that stuff. So I was just bad at like almost like 90% of the things like you can ever imagine. So like playing games, playing outside, I wasn't really good at anything. And that's what caused me to kind of come to like video games because video games I was sick at. Video games, I was the goat. People were like, "Hey, bro, let's play with Alex. He's the man. He's the he can do all wonders in the video game." But my name was like Mr. Drowsy. That's what I was trying to say. So I had like different names. I know it wasn't. It was like Royal Blue or something. It was some weird ass name that I had. I was like 10, bro. But I had these things, but I was really, really good at video games. Like I was like super sick. So I would just grind these out. I would play like 10 to 12 hours a day, sometimes even more. So I had all these things going for me. But of course, as a human being, you still need to study. So the hatred of school even began more and more. So when COVID hit around and we didn't have to study and everybody could just cheat on literally anything, I was just like, you know what, let me just go all in on this. And when I saw Fortnite paying money, I was like, okay, so you can make money online. That was like kind of like my threshold where everything began. So I started looking for things online. But what happened is that as I was looking for, getting paid on Fortnite, I started getting these videos recommended to me of Luke Belma, Hamza, all these, like self-help gurus, all that type of stuff, Andrew Tate. And I just watched these guys. I was like, wait a second, this is like a completely new thing to me. Like, wait a second. And that just made so much sense in my mind I was like, wait a second, I can just get paid. on sitting on the computer and just doing this type of thing. At that time, I didn't realize how difficult it was or whatever it was. So I was like, okay, I was bad at also like in that time being, I was like also self-developing. And that's when I really knew like school was bad, because what happened in that year was that I had free time. Like because I wasn't able to, like articulate, read or write that really good, I just had a lot of issues and I would just like catch up in school. I was like, I would still score good. I have like a photographic memory, which allowed me to just like memorize like not all the stuff. So like even if I want to say like let's say Andrew, right? So I would see this photo of Andrew and I'll be like, I'll just memorize this. Like I wouldn't really focus on the syllables and all that sort of stuff. That's why my accent's kind of like here and there. But what this kind of did for me was that I just developed a photograph memory, because I was like, I can't learn this stuff because I couldn't learn, because I told you in the past that I took like 2 years off of school, learning days, whatever it is. So like what happened in school was when kids were learning like basically how to like pronounce ABCD, I just hopped in on school like 2 years later, and they were like trying to spell strawberry and I couldn't spell strawberry at all, and I was just like, wait, what's happening? So I'd like really catch up. But that's what made me good at maths. So I was getting good at maths. Now, math again did not really work out for me when I just grew older. I was like, nah, F this. But basically what I did was I would just memorize all of it, and I was still like score like, I was like a not an F student like Unk, but I was if you know that meme, but I was like a B student. But what it kind of did for me was that I just saw a way out. Like when I was sitting there, I was like reading books. I read the book of David Goggins. I did all this sort of stuff, and it kind of made me realize that all these things are in the disposal. You can change yourself. You can do all these things, which allowed me to drop into sales. Now, when I was a kid, I understood one thing, that if you talk good, you can make money. I don't know why I had that. Maybe I just like watched too much movies, but I understood that if you can like talk really, really good, and if you can convince people, you can get money. I understood this concept when I was like even little. But what this entire thing did for me was that once I learned this, and I was like really articulate, I was like pronouncing all this stuff, it allowed me to like look into online sales in general. So I started doing sales at like I would say in 2023, 2023 December, yes, like the start of 2024, I started looking into all these things, and I started a business with like two other people. One of the guys, he like kind of just left us. He was like, hey, I'm taking all the money, you can take like $50, and that's another story. But that like pushed me. But I understood one thing, that how we were making money was through sales. So I started applying for jobs. Like I started messaging everybody. I started like reiterating my words, how the way that I spoke, and I got paid my first $75. Now, how did this correlate to video games? Because video games made me realize two things: that if you work on something for long enough, so there's time that you can work on, and then there's effort. And if you multiply time and effort, you can get results. Like this is my formula for anything, is that if you can reiterate whatever you're doing, and that will equal to you making money or you getting the results that you kind of want. And that's what video games allowed me to do. And it was like the most fantastic thing ever. I never got paid by Fortnite, by the way. I just wasn't that good. That game is competitive. Like that's extremely competitive. I left CSGO. I used to play a bunch of CSGO and Apex. So I was just like, nah, let's just leave this entire thing. But yeah, what the overarching principle I want to make with this kind of video is give you my story. So I started doing sales, and these two things really struck me because I played video games. So if you're watching this, right, like I know many entrepreneurs who just like play video games. If you still play it, I think if you're like an entrepreneur, if you're on that journey, you shouldn't really play them. But the reason why I'm making this video is like you guys have a little bit of a context, because even these videos that I'm doing, I'm messaging to the people who are like me. So a lot of the time what happens is that when you make just solution strategy videos, right, people don't know who you are. You're just a strategy guy. But if I can sell myself and my story, because people buy from people, you guys would resonate with me more. And I want to be with people who have the similar story as me, who are the kind of like same like me, right? Because if you want to have the same person and same kind of personality that we have, look at this little smiley guy. But the main point I want to make is that the time and effort thing, I realized like early on because of video games, of like, if I just put the time, if I put this, I get results. So I started doing sales, started making like money, I started making, I started like complete school. I started with decent grades, like A, B, and everything. But And how did I do it? I just like chunked all of it up. Like, this is one of my superpowers, that I have photographic memory. And I can just like boom, 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 learn like anyone. So that's my kind of my advantage that I had. But I was making like, with sales, I was making like 2 to 3 grand every single month around that time. Also, I was working with my brother, that one of the guys that he's my brother. And that entire like kind of situation led me to these two things that happened in Jan of this year, which made me a lot of money now in August. So these like past this year was a little bit weird for me, because what happened is that I worked on two offers which didn't exist. So what do I mean by that? What happened is that I hopped on two offers. Both of the guys were promising. Both of the guys were millionaires. It was like a really good offer. We were having daily team calls, all that good stuff. But the issue was, the main reason was that the offer didn't exist. So I was selling something for hours on end, and I was doing all this stuff, and I didn't got paid anything, like literally anything, like zero. I got paid like some from one guy, but like that was like, he still owed me like a lot more than we made. So that entire thing kind of like pushed me to start like looking out and venturing out. So I started looking into AI and looking for developers. So one of the guys that I work with that paid me some money, he had a dev. So I started working with that dev and creating my systems, which I sell right now and which I help businesses with. What the system did was that it would just replace all this outside sales with AI. And the reason why I was able to replicate that, because I was sales rep myself for almost like 2 years, which gave me the experience and gave me the ability to present myself in those scenarios where most like AI kids couldn't do. Because what happened is that I could script it, I would prompt it, I knew what sold and I knew what didn't sold. I knew how would the DMs work and don't work. And that's why a system is like one of the best in the market, because I prompt it and I make it for a specific coach, and I work with I work with like almost like, I'll say 8 or 9 niches, which are like primary what you like sell at. And I've like done like the most numbers. I've like booked like 20 calls in like 3 days. I've done broken records, all that stuff, and also just like closing and all that stuff. But removing all that jazz, my entire focus was that let me just create this gap of people who have a lot of followers but cannot hire that many people. So I started reaching out to businesses. I started reaching out to massive guys with 100k followers, 200k followers, 250k followers, and that's when it kind of like I struck gold. Even low niche coaches, and like one of the guys I work with is a basketball coach, one of the guys I work with is a trading guy, one of the guys that I work with, he does AI content, all that sort of stuff. And this like led me to just like, I was like, okay, this is sick. So what this kind of did was it removed all the hiring part, and it also removed the factor that you have to spend money to get new people in or give your commissions out, because we do like a one-time payment and a super low retainer. And that's how we just like scaled to like, that's how I'm scaling to 50k a month. Now, this is how exactly, but this is the thing, right? In these moments, it sounds really, really easy, but there were so many times like my dev left me last month. We had to do refunds, we had to do a bunch of things, and there was here and there. And all these things, it caused me to have that same mindset that I had when I was playing video games, that the time and effort will super succeed anything. If I give my time and efforts to all these things, it will make me money. Like there's no way it doesn't do that. So I understood this equation like from day one. It's just time and effort. And what happened? Sales started coming in. August, we started scaling. July, we started scaling. We started to make more and more money for me and my clients, which allowed me to be, like, you should check my IG stories, by the way. I post like a bunch of results there. But it just completely changed my perspective on like how business and money works. And the reason why I made a video on the sales rep, which you guys should check out, reason being that is because sales and between a business is just the risk factor. Like if you can take the risk, if you have the balls to do it, go out there and make your own business or just start your own thing. Because what happens is that when you're doing sales, you're going to see, this is how your graph is as a consistent, like monthly as a salesperson, is that you constantly see like results happening. But when you have a business right here, what happens in a business is that you're just like flatlined and then boom, exponentially you go up. But the thing is like, Here, it sucks because you can't see anything happening, any results happening. Hey, you can see things happening. That's why you feel good. That's why you're collecting commissions. You're doing all that good stuff. But the overarching principle that I want to make is that if you can take the risk and if you can do it, do the sales. And if you're someone who's even a beginner watching these videos and if you're playing video games, just turn them off and play the game of life. Enjoy it, because this is more fun than a video game because you get the results even faster. In a video game, you're not going to get results that fast if you're trying to become like the top number one. No, if you play story games, you're just gay. Like, that's what it is. If you play like story games all the time, that's just gay, bro. So, and mind me if my voice is kind of clanky or low because I have a cold. That's why. I mean, we're still pushing it though. But that, and this is the thing, right? Like, you just become obsessed. I'm not feeling that well. I went to gym in the morning, but it's just you just sort of love the game, because the thing is, like, people talk about discipline all the time, but I'm like, why not just get unlimited motivated? Like, why not just get motivated to the roof? Like, just get this through the roof, because what that will do for you is that you don't rely on this. This guy who's relying on motivation, every day is suffering for him. Every day he does something, he suffers, while you on the other end are just enjoying. And how are you going to be someone that's working 10, 12 hours and he's enjoying the entire process and he's created an entire way of living? I'm going to drop my routine as well. Let me just tell you my routine. I wake up, I eat some food, I drink a coffee, I hit the gym, then I come home, then I do my whiteboard, I pray and I do all that stuff, and then I start working. And in my work, what I basically do is I allocate a time, like I allocate learning and doing at the same time. Because most people, if you override any one of these, you'll fail. Like, this is the thing, again, video games. The reason why you're so good at video games is because you take the action immediately. Have you ever realized that? The reason why you're so good at a video game is because you take the actions immediately. You're playing it immediately. You learn a new trick, you learn a new trick shot, you learn all this thing, you learn it, and then you're just putting it to action. That's why it gives you the results. Same thing is in the business. If you're learning something, take it out there and just apply it. Or just write it on a note, make notes, do something with it. Because watching content for fun, if you're watching this video right now, you should have already noted down the equation of time into effort equals results. You already should have taken the note of this action thing. Now, if you're doing all that work, it's gonna let you propel forward more than anybody. Because what people do is that, this is the thing, let's say you should learn, work, learn, work, learn, work, learn, work, learn, work. And this entire sort of graph, learn and work, will allow you to make money at the end of the day. Reason being that because you are actually doing stuff. Business is talking to people. That's how easy it is. You guys need to go out there. And I know you guys already know that, but still, some people, you guys overcomplicate it. What happens is that you pay all these people all this money. You're like, hey, I have this, I have that. I'm like, hey, how many people are you talking to? If you're hiring someone, and if you're hiring a coach, consultant, mentor, and if you're not paying them to get more people in, you're making a mistake. Because people is going to pay you in the end. Somebody's going to take out their wallet or their credit card and going to pay you. That's the game. It's not the other way around. It's not that some magical thing happens. But it's people are everything, in my opinion. If you have the right people, if you have the right resources, you will win. That's the kind of video I want to make, so I can give you guys like kind of my, like, who I am and what I kind of like came up with, and how I am ended up in this like entire sort of journey. And yeah, if you watch this video and take some parts of it, if you liked it, drop down some comments. If you want to work one-on-one with me, I have a link in the description. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.